Hey guys, my name's Casey. I am the composer of Cornbread, Chili ChaCha. Thank you so much for tuning into this, because the fact that you're looking this up really shows that you actually are trying to do a good job with this song, and I appreciate it. I had a lot of fun writing it, and I hope that you guys are enjoying it in your bands that you're playing with. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and listen to the song. Every great musician listens to songs ahead of time. They write out stuff, they make notes, and good musicians write on their music. This is me trying to communicate with you my thoughts, but there are a lot of things that I just can't simply relate every solitary little thing, and sometimes people have mistakes, and there's a couple things in this that if you listen to it, you're going to hear a few things that need to be pointed out. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to listen to the song, and then I'm going to just make suggestions, things that you can write on the piece. This is obviously something you should do with every piece you ever do if you have the ability to listen to it ahead of time. So we're going to start off. This is a live recording with my band playing this song. So it's not perfect. It's not computer generated. This is just a real group playing the piece. So here we go. We're going to listen to it. Start off at the beginning.
1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and...
Okay, so that's hi-hat up here. You're welcome to write hi-hat if you don't know what that is. Okay, so I'm going to stop that there because there's a few things I want to point out already. First of all, if you're someone who maybe you struggle with a few of these rhythms, like up here on measure 4, that's 1, 2, and 4. It's okay if you need to write the counting underneath. That's totally fine. Don't feel like, oh, I'm horrible if I write the counting. I want to make sure that you play it right every time. And eventually, obviously, if you write it in there and you read it, after you play it a bunch of times, you're going to remember what the rhythm is. You're not going to even need to worry about reading it like that. But at measure 5, it always helps me to know what's happening. So at measure 5, I would probably write claps there because the band is doing... They're doing a clap rhythm there, and then the melody comes in at that measure right there, which is, see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, measure 9. So I would write like melody there at measure 9 because that would help me. And also, if this happens on occasion, maybe I'll update this. But if you have, if your band director is saying start at measure 9, you're always going, oh, where is that? You can always write the measure number above that specific spot. If you want to write measure numbers underneath each individual measure so that you know exactly where you are, that's okay too. Don't do them too big, but just do them subtly. And then another thing is this beat 2 here on this is actually, or beat 2 on the snare drum there, that is actually called a cross stick. So if you don't know how to play cross stick, we'll cover this when we get on the drum set. But if you don't know how to do a cross stick, it's okay just to play snare. That's totally fine. But you can write cross stick there if that helps. Okay, now we're on measure 9 here. Okay, 2, 3, and 4. And 2, and 3, and 4. So it's got that crescendo in there. If you need to highlight that, you can. Now, another thing is there's repeats. If you need to circle those repeats, by all means, do it. Don't feel like you can't do those things. All right, so 19. If you want to write claps there, that's fine. Give yourself... Make sure that you know what's happening at that point. Here we go. So 27, the recording, of course, this is a recording for everybody, so the solo section is not going to have a solo on the recording here, but it is what's going to be here as a solo. So you can write solo section here. If it helps you to write, so those are called backgrounds. Backgrounds are when the rest of the band plays something really light underneath the solo section. If you want to write backgrounds second time, or depending on how many times you guys are going to do a solo section, it'll also be good to write how many times if you have multiple people. Okay, here we go. So this is just hi-hat. So there's a fill there. So this is on the ride cymbal. You can always write ride there. And you can write melody returns there at 49 if that helps you. So I already have crashes on 2 and 4 written, but you can circle that if you forget. There we go. So that is our first time listening through the piece. Now, the thing that I always find most important is that it's good to listen to it ahead of time and write all this stuff down that you hear. That's always good. A lot of times drum parts have discrepancies or things that are written differently than what's played on the recordings or just taken in a different way. So listening to it ahead of time is really, really going to be helpful for you to do. But the more important thing is that when we get into playing the piece, if you mess something up, if there's something that throws you off, write a note. You know, I can't even tell you the amount of times I've had a director tell me something like, hey, at 39, you are just speeding up and speeding up. So I'll write in big letters something like slow down or watch the tempo. That helps me immensely because it reminds me that, I get a little carried away in this section. I need to pull it back. All right, now that you've gone through all that, we're going to take it over to the drum set and do a little walkthrough, talk about the cha-cha style in general, because the cha-cha is a Latin rhythm, and it's great. You're going to have a lot of fun doing this, I hope. So let's move over on the drum set.